So we're out looking at houses, or you've been approved by Home Partners. Here's a question that a lot of people ask me: what kind of homes does Home Partners buy? Well, it can be a little tricky, and that's the most honest answer I can give you. In the state of Maryland, now every state is a little different, but we're focused on Maryland. And even in Maryland, the qualifying criteria is a little different than it is in other states. But in Maryland, the house must be built after 1978. And the big reason for that, people say, well, why? Unless it's had a major renovation. Because prior to 1978, when they were building homes, they used lead-based paint. And if you know any of the background with lead-based paint, it chips very easily, and there are chemicals and toxins in the paint that can cause harm to the development of children. So they do not buy any houses prior to 1978 unless they've been significantly renovated. So that's one thing. They do not buy condominiums. That is their right and their preference, and they choose not to buy condominiums. The only time this really ever comes up is being a condominium. You know, when I say condominium, you think an apartment. Well, not all condominiums are apartments. Sometimes a condominium can be in the structure type of a townhome. So there are condominium townhomes. A condominium is the type of ownership that you own. When you own a condominium, that just means you own from the drywall in, from the drywall out, the roof, the sidewalks. Everything else is owned by the condominium association. So Home Partners does not buy those. And quite honestly, typically they have very, very high condo fees. And if a building has a major renovation, all of the homeowners have to chip in to repair it. And they don't buy properties over 2 acres. They don't buy properties that use oil heat. These are things that have come up in the past year that people will fall in love with a home. That's why, as much as I know it's wonderful to look on Zillow and Redfin and whatever other apps are out there, always send everything to me so I can go into Maris, which is the most accurate information, and be able to make sure it's approved, because I don't want anybody to be let down and find the house of their dreams and then find out it's not approved. I've seen it happen, and it's very disheartening and disappointing, and we don't want that to happen. We want to keep going forward in our journey and find you a home. And Home Partners isn't approved in every zip code, every neighborhood. So that's another reason when you're going on Zillow and looking around and you see a home in a certain area, I always check the address to make sure it's approved. And the reasons really behind that are they're not going to purchase something in very rural areas, because if you don't buy the property, obviously they have to re-rent it or they have to sell it. Typically, Home Partners holds their houses, so they don't sell a lot. But if they do, it can make it more difficult to rent. And in certain areas, based on the housing statistics, higher crime areas, they tend to stay away from. And they do not buy anything in Baltimore City. Part of that is because the process in Baltimore City and the criteria for rentals is legally much different. So I hope that helps to clarify a little bit about what they buy. So your typical townhouse, single family home, built in the county, built, after 1978 is going to be perfect. And it doesn't mean it's got to be, and the other thing, just so you know, here in the Baltimore metro area, they only purchase homes up to a purchase price of $400,000. In the DC metro area, they buy homes up to $450,000. So that's a little difference there. And I know I have some clients that are looking kind of right on that line. And I will further clarify where that line is drawn, what's considered DC Metro and what's considered Baltimore Metro. But until then, thanks again for listening. Hope all of this information is more helpful to you. There's really not a lot more to the Home Partners program. I mean, once we find the home, we know the home types, then and they go under contract. It's a pretty simple process. Now they are rent with the right to purchase. So if you don't like it, you don't like the area. I just had a client say to me the other day, you know, I love the house, but I'm not super fond of my neighbor. I don't know if I want to stay. I said, okay, well, we can help you find something else. The only downfall is Home Partners will only purchase one home for a client. You can't buy a new home every year. So that's just something to bear in mind. But I hope you're all having a great evening. It is chilly, chilly, chilly here in Baltimore today. And we're going to go try and stay warm for the rest of the evening. Enjoy. Bye-bye.